In Uvalde, Texas, last night, people gathering for this vigil near the school. Some had family members who went there. Others had neighbors who also worked there as employees. 9 victims have identified so far out of the 19 who were killed. Most of them were 10 years old. Officials say 6 people are still hospitalized, including 3 children. ABC's Rena Roy has more on what we've learned today about the victims.
They were daughters, sons, cousins, and friends just going about everyday life at Robb Elementary School. Now they've become the faces of America's latest mass shooting.
My hearts are broken for these families and for these kids.
So many families waking up to a world without their loved ones. 19 students and 2 teachers killed. 10-year-old Rogelio Torres' mother described him as very smart and loving. Cousins Jace Carmelo Luevanos and Jayla Nicole Silguero also shot to death. Their families saying they always had a smile on their face, just full of life. 4th grade teacher Eva Mireles remembered as an educator filled with compassion who went the extra mile for her students.
She saw every student as equally important. It was more than anybody else has ever poured into my child. I've just never seen anyone quite so dedicated.
Irma Garcia was a co-teacher in the same classroom as Mireles and was getting ready to celebrate her 25th wedding anniversary with her husband. 10-year-old Xavier Lopez's mother had just attended his award ceremony hours before the shooting. It was the last time she ever saw him alive. His grandmother speaking to ABC by phone.
It's so hard. You send your kids to school and thinking they're going to make it back home, and they're not.
Eliana Cruz Torres, cousins Annabelle Rodriguez and Jacqueline Jalen Casares, and Amarie Jo Garza, also taken from their families. Amarie just turned 10 2 weeks ago, her father telling ABC, "My little love is now flying high with the angels above. Please don't take a second for granted. Hug your family. Tell them you love them." Grief counselors are on hand as the community copes with this loss. There's also a National Disaster Distress Helpline available to all Americans for free 24/7 as we mourn not only this mass shooting, but the one in Buffalo and so many others this year alone. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
It seems as if everyone has a personal connection to what happened.
It's not just that it seems like it, Chris, it's because they really do. And truly, this is really a horrific nightmare for all of them. It's heart-crushing. In fact, Chris, behind me here at the Civic Center in Uvalde, there have been so many people who have come here today throughout the day seeking counseling, including, I spoke with a mental health worker moments ago who told me that includes many of the victims' families who came here to try to figure out, with the help from counselors, how to explain to their surviving children what happened here. I also just spoke to a Uvalde high school senior named Ivan Arellano, whose best friend, his little sister, 11-year-old Layla Salazar, was killed. So he told me he came here to clear his head about that. And then he told me that he knew the gunman very well, and he wanted to make something very clear about him. Here he is moments ago.
Salvador Ramos was a boy who was not bullied. He would try to pick on people but fail, and it would aggravate him. I would like to get that out of the way. He was not bullied. He, prior, and I don't see this covered, and I'm going to put this out there, he would hurt animals. He was not a good person. He would go to the parks and try to pick fights.
Much more from Arellano tonight on News 8 at 10. And we also learned today that President Joe Biden will travel here to Uvalde.
Breaking news now at 6. We are hearing what the gunman said to a room full of children before opening fire. Let's bring in KENS 5 reporter Henry Ramos, who just spoke to a 4th grader who was there. And Henry, his account is absolutely heartbreaking.
I mean, we really cannot say that enough, Sharon. I mean, we've certainly have been reporting on the heartbreak, but hearing this from an eyewitness, a 4th grader inside that classroom, I mean, the bravery for him to speak with me this afternoon, he survived because the majority of his classmates did not. They did not walk out of that classroom yesterday, but he did. This 9-year-old told me that they were watching the Addams Family movie. It was right before lunch. He said they started hearing the gunshots. That's when his teacher said lockdown mode. He said the gunman shot through the door, and he says when the shooter walked in, listen to what he said to the class.
When he came in, he says it's time to die. And when I heard the shooting through the door, I told my friend to hide under something so he won't find us.
It's time to die. I mean, just chilling words. Him and his best friend and 3 other students hid under a table. A tablecloth was covering them. They were able to survive. Coming up tonight at 10, more from this harrowing account. Extremely heartbreaking. Again, just one of the many stories that we're hearing out here in Uvalde. We're live tonight. Henry Ramos, KENS 5. Sharon?
Thank you, Henry.
Roland Gutierrez, who represents this area of Uvalde and San Antonio and other places. Senator, thank you for being with us in such a difficult time. You know, you live here. This is your area. You go from San Antonio all the way close to the border. You got 700 miles of border in your district. How do you process this?
It's been a very hard 24 hours. I heard yesterday around 1 p.m. and at first we heard it was one child. And then as the day escalated, it was 9, and then 14, and then 18, and then 19. As I got here last night and started visiting with my constituents, stakeholders, the county judge and others, I went to the reunification center and I saw families that were waiting to hear whether their child was dead or alive. And as people were informed that their child had deceased, you heard uncontrollable crying, as you could imagine. It has been an incredibly hard 24 hours. It has been incredibly hard.
That center, which initially was a place where parents went to be reunited with their children, evolved into this place where parents had to give their DNA, hoping, praying, begging that their children survive. What do you I don't know. I mean, how do you go forward? I mean, what those screams are screams from del espíritu, from your soul.
It was amazing to me to see people waiting there very calmly, and then to get horrifying news and to see that the calmness of it all, and they were sitting there huddled with their families praying. I cannot believe that we're living this nightmare right now, and I don't wish that people in America could have saw what I saw last night.
Yeah.
But I wish that people that advocate for these types of weapons knew what I now know. I wish that people would understand that we need change in this country.
How do you, and it's so raw and so real, and I mean, there are some parents that are yet to be with their deceased children. Some that will never be able to see their children the way they left them yesterday morning here in Robb, because these bullets have destroyed the children. It's raw, but I'm just wondering, and I know that, just talking to you about, now you're focused and rightfully so on the help that these people and the officers, the people who had to go into that 4th grade classroom and see what they saw, and then the people that heard, including yourself, those screams. That's the immediate. Talk to me about the immediate, and then also about the future.
Yeah, we always tend to talk about this space, about mental health care that we need for shooters and the like. And certainly there's a desperate need for that in Texas, but no one ever talks about the mental health care for communities. We're still dealing in Sutherland Springs, which is 40 miles from my home. We're still dealing with bereavement consultants over there in that community. This is going to be a long-term thing for the families of Uvalde. This is going to be something that they're going to be reeling with days after the media is gone and months after the media is gone. I dare not say what I know happened in that school out of respect for these families.
I thank you for that.
I am just shocked beyond belief and beyond words. I don't know what call to action there is, because every time we want to do something in the state legislature, the Republican-controlled legislature says, no, we're not going to do anything. People elect me to solve problems. And in this space, I just feel so powerless, because after we try and we can't get a modicum of gun sense. And that's all I'm asking for into the future, because if we don't learn from this, then what are we? What am I doing in Austin if I can't get Republican colleagues to learn from this?
I'm just wondering, I know you haven't slept, I know you haven't been home at all, but you're going to go home, and what are you going to say when you get home?
Actually, I've been driving back and forth, and this morning I hugged my daughters when they went off to school. And I started thinking about the 19 parents that weren't going to get to send their kids off to school anymore. One of my kids said, okay, Dad, stop. I said, no, you got to give me a hard squeeze hug. They're preteens now, and so this is where we're at. This is where we're at in this country, and it's not right. It's not right. I'm sorry.
Senator Gutierrez, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time, for your heart, your voice, and we need a lot of that. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Met a man named Angel Garza, whose 10-year-old daughter, A. Marie, was killed just hours after receiving a certificate she was quite proud of for making the honor roll. Angel Garza's daughter, A. Marie, was just 2 weeks past her 10th birthday when he walked this path on Tuesday, dropping her off at school for what turned out to be the very last time.
She was the sweetest thing, dude. She's so creative. She just got an award for being the most creative.
I'm a fourth grader also.
I don't know what to do, man. She didn't deserve that.
No.
She didn't.
Oh, she didn't.
I just want to protect my little girl.
It was her fourth grade classroom where that 18-year-old gunman opened fire, killing A. Marie at the very moment her classmates say she was calling for help.
She tried to grab her phone and call the cops.
And as we spoke, we heard a sound from inside the house. A. Marie's mother, sobbing.
I hear someone crying inside. Who's
That's
that?
her mother.
Neither parent is sure what to tell her 3-year-old brother, Zane.
Every morning he wakes up, he asks for his sister.
And Garza says it's just too painful for the family to stay where they are, in an area so full of memories.
She always makes me laugh because, I love music and I listen to music all the time, but every time we pulled up to that school and they're about to open her door, she makes sure to turn it down all the way because she gets embarrassed.
And while some parents find solace in the hope for change, Angel Garza is not one of them. At least not now.
Nothing's gonna change. This always happens in a small town. Nobody expects anything bad to happen, and then it happens, and everybody wants to make changes to prevent it from happening, and then it dies down a little bit, and then it happens again, and then it's a cycle. I just want my baby home. I don't care. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about nothing at all.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
See a theme here? Take a good look. What does all this mass shootings have all in common? AR-15s. assault rifles. It's time for the Republicans and the people in the law office to ban automatic destruction weapons, assault rifles. I'm all about Second Amendment, right to bear arms, but it's time to put these mass destruction weapons, to ban these, that can hold deadly, that can spray many bullets. It's time. Enough is enough. It's time.